This initiative happens every single year. They take certain leaders or African young people to the US to study and in topics of business, civic engagement, and also public service. So I don't know how many of you here have ever applied. Do you have anyone who has ever applied for the program? Yeah. Did you go through? Okay. Yeah, so that's the reason why we are here, and we want to know what are those eligibility criteria that we need to ensure that we have before we apply, and also we see how to go around with all the application process, because the application is a bit long. So with us is a chief guest who is a foreign service officer, the U.S. Department of State, and Mr. Chavi Ronald is going to introduce the guest that has come with her. Then after, we'll dive into deeper what has brought us here. But I think it's better we first kind of introduce ourselves such that our guest knows the person or the people that she's going to talk to. I think we can begin with this side.
I am called Sinje Anson, and I'm a student at Mbara University of Science and Technology, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Software Engineering in Yasri. And I'm glad to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Issa Kamhanji is my name. I work as Director Operations at Bamsalim Services Limited, and I'm glad to join you for this session. Thank you.
Welcome our guest, Rogers Ainembabazi. I'm the director of Biz Products. For us, we deal in beekeeping as a business. We farm bees as one way of making money. So we train farmers in apiary management practices, specifically how to earn money through beekeeping. And I'm a member of Ankara Young Farmers Association. Here, I'm glad to be part of this team.
Thank you very much. Ismatov Mohud, Director Operations, LSMAT Conservation Technologies. At LSMAT, we deal into recycling agricultural biodegradable waste into briquettes, energy saving stoves, and fire starters. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm fortunate that you're today, a student at University of St. Joseph's Mbarara, pursuing Bachelor's of Information Technology, Year 3. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to say I'm happy to be here. My name is Geralda Himbisiwe, and I'm a Yali Regional Leadership Center, cohort 39. And I practiced civic leadership, but I'm also a team lead at Tainu, or the Ability Youth Initiative Uganda. And we do a mentorship program that integrates education, financial inclusion, and soft skills development for underserved young people in the communities of Visinjiro in the southwestern Uganda. And I just want to emphasize that your being here is not a mistake, yeah? You're going to meet transformation as long as you give this a try. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, I mean. My name is of Nasa Raymond. I'm a graphic designer. Here I work with EIT. And also, I'm like a freelancer. I deal with I have contracts with other companies I work with. That's what I do. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ankonda Melvin, an intern student at Empower Youth in Technology.
Yes, good afternoon. Qualia Isaac Newton, student at Bara University of Science and Technology, pursuing Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. Just finished my year 3. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Kabuga Henry, content creator and producer at 8TV. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Simeon Ochane Toko. I'm doing my bachelor's in physiotherapy, and I'm also an upcoming entrepreneur. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ronald Arroy Emmanuel. I'm a student at Barras University of Science and Technology, doing Bachelor's of Science in Accounting and Finance. I'm glad to be part of this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, good afternoon. My name is Gilbert Okulo. I'm a software developer, and I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Sankara Biaruhanga. Glad to be back to the home that made me. I am now a team lead at Creative Campus Limited, but I'm also the community lead at the Innovation Village, Mbarara. You can't know how I have long waited to ever grab the Mandela Washington Fellowship opportunity. So I'm very, very glad to be here this afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon for those attending physically and those attending online. Good afternoon. Yes, me, I'm Jonathan Anyine, and I'm the guild speaker from Bara University of Science and Technology. I'm a student of pharmacy, and most importantly for this occasion, like I said earlier, I'm a failure applicant for the Mandela Fellowship. Yeah, but I'm happy to be here. I hope that today I get to learn the skill and maybe find out what went wrong from my previous application. Thank you.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Mwabia Elvis, a software engineering student at MAST. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I've come here to get more, to add on to the little I've been knowing. I don't wish to go back the way I've come. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mohindo Wan, and I'm a student at Bara University of Science and Technology. I am pursuing a bachelor's in nursing science. And about the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I had heard about it from a friend and had even gotten a link. However, that was when we were doing exams. And then I hoped I would apply after the exams. And so when I saw applier having a session on how you can apply for this fellowship, I was like, why not? That is why I am here this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm called Derek Ngabirano. I'm doing software engineering at Mbara University of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Tarima Regan. I'm a student at Bishop Stewart University, doing a Bachelor's of Information and Technology, and I'm in my final year. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Edgar Noahereza. I'm a student at Mbara University of Science and Technology, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Physiotherapy, and I'm heading to my final year. I await to see what the fellowship has brought us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I came late. I was doing some things. My name is Kanchiruho Arinda Daisy. I am pursuing my bachelor in civil engineering here at Mbara University, and I'm currently the Vice Guild President of Mbara University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akankwas Olivia from Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute, pursuing a diploma in wildlife tourism management.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Atuishire Sheila, a student at Bishop Stewart University, offering a bachelor's in tourism and hospitality management.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kamprida Patrick, also a student at Bishop Stewart University, doing a bachelor's in degree, tourism and hospitality management. Then I'm also part of Canine Safaris. Thank you.
Day, but just to say we are happy to host you, Amy. I know this is your first time at a youth, but you've been coming to Mbarara, so been waiting to actually host you. So you are welcome to Empower Youth in Technology. Empower Youth in Technology, just the word youth. That's our focus, our signature. We stand in or we represent young people wherever we go. And our focus area being the university students and the other graduates. So that's why you're speaking to most of the university students and those that have just graduated but are doing something out there. So usually what we do is helping these young people access opportunities. Like Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of those opportunities young people are yearning for, and I know quite a number of people have actually reached out to me personally wanting to know how they can be part of this. It's an interesting opportunity. So we know by the time you leave Mbarara, you leave a youth, these guys will be energized and they'll actually know that the US is actually thinking about them. So Mandela Washington Fellowship is like any other program under YARI or under US exchange programs. So there are so many. So Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of them. But there is also YARI. So before we proceed, I just want to introduce my colleague. He's also under Young Africa Leaders Initiative. So I and him are the ones leading Western Uganda. That's the Western cluster. I'm the chairperson. He's actually in charge of partnership and something. Yeah, partnership and resource mobilization. That's the head of YARI RLC. So just say one or two words, invite Peter to greet us, then Amy will come after. So Peter, you're going to greet us today before you go.
Yeah, once again, I want to say good afternoon. And I just want to use a few minutes to discuss with you just a few things. I know that Mandela Washington Fellowship Program could have brought us here, but I'd like to mention that actually there are more than 10 programs that are offered as US exchange programs are offered by the US mission in Uganda. And alongside, there are also in-country programs, okay, that are run at the American Center. So some of them actually learn both virtual and physical, but mainly my intention today is just to take you through the yearly regional leadership is East Africa, which runs at Nairobi. and which I think that if all of you would give it a thought, you can actually achieve it. I think I went to the center when I was in my first year at university, and with simple community give back experience, which I think if all of you are amazingly contributing to your communities, it can be very achievable. It's a 4 weeks program where you will apply on merit and learn to the center in the three tracks. That is business entrepreneurship, civic leadership, and public leadership. And public leadership would work with you who are working in the public sector and other areas, handling, much of the public concerns. And as well the civic leadership for you who are doing community engagement activities and contributing blocks to projects that are helping us to achieve socioeconomic transformation. Not forgetting the entrepreneurs who are creators and solutions to our problems. So I think that if you give it a try, the website is there, Yali RLC East Africa. Take a look, discover, read the stories. There is great inspiration. And before I invite Peter, I'd like to say that you will never know what you can do until you can. So do what you can. It is now my singular honor and privilege to invite you, Peter Ireki, to talk to the audience. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'll get you. My name is Peter Ireki. I work at the public diplomacy section of the US Embassy with Amy. She's my boss. How many here have already applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship? This year? Planning. Who has an application that has started? Keep going. You're far ahead of everybody else that hasn't yet even opened one, especially Sankara from last year's. Without taking too much time, I will let Ronald invite Amy. Yes.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to avoid this, but yeah, eventually. So I want to take this opportunity that has been given to me to invite you. I'll get you, Peter, to invite you, Amy, to talk to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. And it's a pleasure for me to be here at AIT. I have heard much about this organization over the past couple of years. And I think what you're doing in Mbarara and providing these opportunities for young people to engage more with technology is essential for the development of the economy of Mbarara, of Uganda, and globally. So I'm here to talk about the Mandela Washington Fellowship, but I want to give you some context to why this program is so important to us in the United States. So 12 years ago, President Obama was sitting there in the White House, and he said, you know, there's a lot of amazing things happening on the African continent. And there's so many young people in Africa that are growing up into leaders. And what can we in the United States do to connect with those young leaders across Africa? He said, well, one of the things that the United States is known for is our leadership training. And they said, you know, there's so many young people who want to be leaders. And how can we in the United States give them opportunities to expand their leadership skills? And out of that idea came the Young African Leaders Initiative. And this initiative overall is trying to provide young Africans with skills and experiences that will allow them to thrive in whatever field you're in and connect with other leaders from across this continent and the United States. So the Young African Leaders Initiative, or YALI, is bringing together brilliant young minds from across Africa and the United States. But the program started small, and it has grown. And what we realized is that there are many more people who want to be part of this network than we can host at universities in the United States. So now the YALI program has 3 parts. So today we're going to talk about Mandela Washington Fellowship, the leadership opportunity in the United States. And you've already heard about the Regional Leadership Center in Kenya. And we have 4 regional leadership centers across Africa that bring together young leaders from different parts of Africa for training at a leadership center. And I would strongly encourage all of you to also look into the YALI RLC program. And the third is the YALI network. And today, every one of you can sign up for the YALI network because it is a free online network where you can take courses in leadership, in business, in entrepreneurship, and other areas that will help expand your skills. So whether you apply to Mandela Washington Fellowship or not, I still encourage you to join the YALI network. And I'm actually going to, I open this. You'll be able to see, actually Ronald, can you open the main YALI webpage? We'll open both of them. So yali.state.gov is the website, yali.state.gov. And I wanted to start by introducing these 3 programs to let you know that there are many resources out there for young people like you. And YALI is one of the programs that the U.S. Department of State operates here in Uganda to provide experiences for young people to gain skills, to be able to study in the United States, but also build skills that are valuable here for yourselves. There are other opportunities, and every time the U.S. Embassy has exchange programs that are open, we post them on our social media and on our website. So for example, if you're interested in pursuing a master's degree in the United States, the Fulbright program provides fully funded master's and PhD programs in the United States. They're very competitive, but if you are a strong student with a clear professional aim, you can apply to Fulbright for educational opportunities. And then we have some programs that are for university students. There's something called the Study of the U.S. Institutes, or SUSI. Again, when we announce them, they go up on our webpage. I will try and share that information with Ronard and his team as well. But please feel free to look at the whole suite of opportunities offered by the U.S. government. Now, today, we're particularly excited to talk about Mandela Washington Fellowship. Hey, Peter. Sorry, I've been talking all day. So while I catch my breath, Ronald, how did you first learn about YALI?
About YALI?
Yeah.
Oh, how I learned about YALI. First, there is an opportunity I got for the first time after university. I traveled to Turkey and Tunisia, so I met some alumni who had gone through YALI, and that's how I got to know it. So I started giving it a try later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people learn about these programs through their networks. How did you first learn about YALI?
Yeah, so for my case, I was at university, but I had this strong art of give. I love to give back to my community. So I used to search in ways of giving back, and so I landed on the YALI website. So after landing on the YALI website, then I subscribed. So when I subscribed, I could get updates. So the next update was the program. Then I applied and made it. Thank you.
So that's also part of the advantage of being on the YALI network, is once you're a member of the YALI network, you will get updates of when the next applications are open and the calls to apply at different times, because each one of our programs has different deadlines. Now, here's just, it's a simple form to fill out to join the YALI network. And so it's from yali.state.gov is the original email or website address, and then it's very simple to sign up. And then the courses there are free. Now, when President Barack Obama was sitting there thinking about designing these leadership programs, he was thinking, well, what type of leadership? And what we recognized is that there are different types of leaders in any community. But there are 3 main tracks in any society in which people become leaders. people become leaders in government, right? Working as either an elected official or in government. And we call that public management. You're officially working for a government or working with a government directly to provide services to your community. That is one type of leadership. So within the YALI program, we have a public management leadership track. Then you have people that are leaders in civil society, that are leading organizations, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, working outside of the government, but for the good of your community. And so we created a track of these programs that are civic leaders. And then the third is business. And we recognize that any society needs leaders who work in the private sector, business sector, entrepreneurs, but that are also using their business to do something good for society. You're providing jobs. You're providing a necessary service to your community. Your organization might be a social enterprise where you actually use the money you make from the business to give back to the community. So within the YALI programs, we have 3 leadership tracks: public management, business and entrepreneurship, and civic leadership. And when you apply to any of these programs, you need to think about which track fits me best. And one thing I've noticed here in Uganda is that many people wear many hats. You maybe are a student and you have a business, or you work in government and you have a community-based organization on the side, or you have a business and you also are running for parliament. And what I tell people when you're thinking about your leadership journey, you need to pick a focus. When you think about your leadership, in what way do you want to focus your leadership energies? Because on these programs, it can be hard if you are wearing too many hats. Are you focusing on your academic journey or your business journey? Your CBO or your politics? And you need to pick one. And for any of these opportunities that you apply to, you then need to think about, where am I going? What do I want to do on this leadership track? So if you're focusing on business, what are you doing now in business? Think about that, define it. And then where are you going? How is your business going to grow? How is your business going to better impact people? Thank you, Peter. And you need to come up with that pathway. Because for applicants to be successful for any of these YALI programs, you need to show that you have a trajectory and that you know where you're going. And what I've seen with many people who apply and maybe are not successful is that you know where you are now, but you don't know where you want to go. And you're not very good at articulating where it is that you want to go on your leadership journey. So the most successful applicants to our programs are those that can think about, okay, this is where I am. I'm working on this business. These are my skills. This is what I'm doing. This is the benefit that I've already done in my community. And then you think about, what do I want from this program? What do I want to gain? What are the skills that I'm going to build? And the final part is, where will that take me? And if you can show that path between where you are now and where you want to be, and demonstrate that where you want to be is as a leader in your community, that you have a plan for how your leadership skills will be put to use, that is how you excel in applications to these programs. Because you're showing us that you're actually going to use this experience and do something with it. Because everybody says, oh, I want to be a leader, oh, I want to go to an American university. That's easy. But how will that benefit you and your organization or your business or your career? That's what we need to see for you to be able to succeed in these applications. So, let me talk a little bit about the application process, and then we'll talk about what you actually do if you're selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship and coming back. So, The application is entirely online for Mandela Washington Fellowship. All of our programs entirely online. So first thing, you need to be able to access a computer. And then, oh, did you open it directly? Ah, my application. Okay, here you can see. Oh, it's thinking. It'll connect. But the application's entirely online. And what I recommend is that you open it and you look at it. And you think about the questions. And maybe start writing some of the answers to the questions offline. Don't go in the system once and answer everything and then leave it. Think about your answers. Really think to make sure that you're fully answering the questions. And as I was talking about, showing that pathway, right? What are you doing now and what will make you stronger in the future? And then proofread your application. Every year we get applicants that have spelling mistakes, or their grammar is bad, or they didn't finish the sentence, and that looks poorly, right? It looks bad if you don't proofread your application to make sure that your grammar is correct, that the language is clear, and that it reads as a professional document. You want to show yourself as a professional in these applications. So please make sure you proofread it. Have somebody else read it too. Have them read to make sure that it looks the best that it can. Then we strongly recommend you include your CV, because you're not going to be able to put everything about your experience in your application. And your CV is the best way for you to show all the different things you've been involved with. And for those of you that are young and still in university, you don't have to just put your work experience on a CV. You also put leadership experience or volunteer activities. So if you've been in the student guild, that's a great thing to put on your CV. If you are the captain of a football team, put that on a CV. That is showing your leadership experience. If you've been volunteering with AIT or in a business training program, put that there. Because those activities demonstrate your experience outside of the classroom and make your resume stronger. So don't be shy in your resume. Put everything there. But make sure you read it and it looks good. That it's spelled correctly, the punctuation is correct. Make it look professional. You're putting your best foot forward. And so you will be filling out all of these forms. They'll ask you how you learned about the program and everything. And be honest in your answers. You probably won't be able to do it all at once. We ask if you've traveled to the US, if you speak English. Your personal statements. So these, Ronald, can you open this one? The personal statements. This is really the most important part of your application. Is it okay, here you go. So go back up, Ronald. This first part is really important. Plagiarism and own work agreement. A lot of people have applied for YALI programs over the years. And some people may tell you they have the perfect thing for you to put in your essay. Do not take something from somebody else to put in your essay. This has to be your own words. Do not copy something from the internet. Do not take something from your friend. You write it yourself. And that's why we have this plagiarism and own work agreement. It's very important to us that what you write is yours, not somebody else's. And if we catch somebody plagiarizing or using somebody else's words, your application will be dismissed. And every year we have great applicants who lose the opportunity because they cheated and took part of their essay from somebody else. So don't do that. Now, the big questions that we ask are, provide an overview of your major professional accomplishments in the past year and your long-term goals and aspirations. What motivates you to do what you're doing? So exactly what I told you before. What are you doing now? And where do you want to go? That sounds simple, but it's actually very challenging, right? Like, really, what are you doing? And if you're, working at a bar and studying and starting a CBO, do you need to talk about all of those, or do you want to focus your essay? And if you're applying as a civic for the civic track, focus on your CBO work and what are you doing now as a CBO? And then where do you want to take it? Where will you go? How will your organization grow because of that? And then this, what motivates you to do work in the field? That's important to hear. Some about why do you care? Why do you care about this issue? If you're in business, why are you selling soap? Why are you a software engineer? What interests you? And if you can show passion in what you do, that will make your application stronger. That you really care. You know, it's not just a job, it's more than a job because you can help people with it. You benefit your society, you're leading your students, you have like a real interest. Like this service is necessary in my community. You know, if you can show that, it comes across well. Okay, what's the next essay, Ronald? If you go down. No, this one. Okay, based on your understanding or preferred track of study, what skills or knowledge do you hope to gain from the fellowship that you would not be able to develop through other opportunities? How will you use those skills and knowledge to enhance your activities in the community for the next 3 to 5 years? So that's why first you need to do the thinking. What do you want to do? And really, what skills do you want to gain? And how is that going to help you? So you're going to tell me, how is it going to help you? And really think about that. When you think of being a leader, what does that mean to you? And how do you want to explore that? Why do you need to do that in either the United States or the Regional Leadership Center if you go to Nairobi? Why? Why can't you do that here in Mbarara? What is the advantage for you of participating in a US exchange program? Is it the American perspective? Is it the network of young African leaders that you will participate with? Is it the American university experience? Is it the leadership training from business experts? You tell me. What is it that you want? Okay, next. Okay. Then we have an essay after Nelson Mandela. So this is a quote from Nelson Mandela, and you need to talk about what it means to you. And then the next one is about diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And so for this program, we want to bring together people from all different backgrounds. This is not only a program for women. It's not only a program for men. It's not only a program for Buganda. It's a program for all of Africa, and it needs to showcase that diversity, all the different types of people that exist. And so this is asking you to talk about how do you, in your work, include others? Do you include people with disabilities? Do you include people who speak a different language than you? Are you comfortable working with people from a different background? Somebody from upper class or from very humble backgrounds? How do you engage people from different experiences? Okay, and then I think the last one here is about resilience and dealing with challenges. How do you overcome challenges? How you've demonstrated resiliency. So what challenge have you faced in your personal life, in your work, in your school, and what did you do to overcome it? Because that's a sign of resiliency. This program is not easy. And so we want people who can face the challenge of going halfway around the world, eating totally new food, having 8 hours of class a day, working very hard, and come out of it with successes to share. So the reason we walk through all of these essays is this is the most important part of your application. When you submit the applications, a team in the United States, volunteers actually read all of these applications. They don't know anything about Uganda. They do not know you. They do not know Mbarara. They know nothing about this country. And so they're really basing their review of your application entirely on what's in these essays. So it's very important for you to think deeply about what you're writing to make sure that you're answering the question and that you're putting your best foot forward and showing that path through what are you currently doing to where do you want to go and the values and passion that you bring behind it. And then as you fill out this application, make sure you actually do everything that it says. If they want your resume, upload your resume. If they want your different statements, do everything that's there. If your application is incomplete, it will not be considered. So that's true for all of our programs. So make sure you complete the application. If you don't actually push submit, it will not be completed. And every year we have applications that are started that never get submitted because nobody pushed the button to submit. and that's a waste. So you have to actually follow through to submit. In terms of the process of what happens next, the applications are then reviewed in America by at least 3 people. We'll read each application. Then a short list comes to us here at the embassy in Kampala, and we have a team review them there. And we invite about 100 people from across Uganda to interviews. And then of those 100 people, we select 24 finalists and 8 alternates. And then Washington confirms those final people have no plagiarism, no criminal records, no negative information in their background before they're finally selected for the program. And the program actually takes place in June and July of next year, of 2024. So you're applying now. The application deadline is September 12th. September 12th is the deadline. And then interviews would take place in January if you were invited to an interview. And the finalists would travel to the United States in June. I'm going to pause. Should we do eligibility requirements? Who can apply? Before I take questions. Who can apply? 1, you must be a resident of Uganda or Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, I don't say citizen of Uganda because you don't have to be a citizen of Uganda. You could be a refugee living here in Uganda. You could be a Nigerian citizen going to school at Must, and you're still eligible to apply, as long as you're a resident of Sub-Saharan Africa. And for us in Kampala, you must be a resident of Uganda. We say the age limit is 25 to 35. 35 is a hard age limit. You cannot apply to the program once you're over 35. If you are under 25, you may be eligible if you have substantial leadership experience to share. So this is not a program for university students unless you have substantial leadership experience to share, either in business or on campus or in an NGO. So you have to have something more than academics to show for this program. And we take a small percentage of people under the age of 25. But most of the time, you need to be already a leader in your field. You will have to get a US visa, which means that we have to make sure, it's basically a background check. If you have any serious criminal records or are an international terrorist, you probably are not going to get a US visa. If you've been denied a visa before for fraudulent submissions, then you would not be eligible to apply. You cannot work for the US government or be a family member of the US government. So Peter, I'm sorry, you cannot apply to Mandela Washington Fellowship. And Peter's wife or his kids also cannot apply. You have to be outside the embassy. Wow. There's that too. You have to be able to read, write, and speak English, which is not a problem for our Ugandan applicants, but for other countries in Africa, that's a bigger challenge. This program is entirely in English. And then here it lists all of the countries where you have to be a citizen and a resident of Sub-Saharan Africa. Okay. With that, Ronald, can I get you, have you shared about your experience? Can I invite you to do that before we take questions? After questions? Okay. Because I think that the program is very impactful, but people experience it in different ways. Because when you go to the United States, you're in a cohort with usually about 20 other people from different countries. So you don't go with a group of Ugandans. You go with a group of people from all of those countries that are listed. And you will be at one university. And we have about 25 different American universities that host the Leadership Institutes. And each one of those universities manages the program differently. They have different leadership coaches, different mentors, different excursions. But they group the people going to one university based around a certain theme. So it'll be a business track group. And then they'll have a focus on business with local experiences. And then at the end of the program, we invite all the leaders from all the different institutes to come to Washington, D.C. for a leadership summit, which is lectures and experiences in Washington with some of our senior leaders that that takes place in Washington. So you go to these different states for the institutes and come together in Washington at the end. So in total, it's about 6 weeks. And then a few applicants will get to stay longer to do an internship at an American organization, what is called Professional Development Experience, or PDE. Did you do PDE? No. Yeah, it's from Uganda. If we send 24 people, usually 3 of them will do the internship following the program. But that's part of your application, is you will decide, would you like to apply for PDE or not? And if so, what would you like to do? Which type of organization would you like to work in if you could do a 6-week internship following the Mandela Washington Fellowship? Okay, I'm going to stop and take questions. And I welcome questions on Mandela Washington Fellowship for sure, but also the YALI programs overall. And if you have questions about other opportunities at the US Embassy, I'm happy to help there as well. Thoughts, comments? Yes?
My question is it a prerequisite for you to first be in YALI, then after apply to Mandela?
No. So good question. Do you need to be in YALI and then apply to Mandela Washington Fellowship? No, not at all. The programs are run independently. And I will say, if you first did YALI and it's only been a year or 2 since you did YALI, you probably won't be competitive for Mandela Washington Fellowship. There needs to be some time between those before, because you have to demonstrate new skills and experience. Why would we send you on a leadership program 2 times in 2 years? We don't. There needs to be some time between the 2 before you're eligible to apply for a different exchange program. So they're not connected. Okay. Other questions?
Thank you. I kept wondering, the matching of the applicant to the institute, yeah? Do applicants select their own institution, or it's done by, yeah?
No, applicants do not select their institution. They only choose their track. So you choose if you're going civic track, public management, or business. And then it's the team in Washington that divides you between the different institutes. And they look at the whole group of all 700 leaders that are coming, and they group people together based on similar experiences. Ronald, do you know how did they group your group? Was there anything that you brought your group together?
It was not really in particular, but I think they base on what the university can offer and then your skills or what you're doing. Basically, that determines the posting.
Yeah, and which track were you?
I was in business, leadership in business.
Yes, and which university?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. And most of the people I had there are actually doing almost what I do. So you realize the grouping was based on that. Yeah. So all of us are into skilling, innovations, technology, and that's how we found ourselves at Notre Dame.
Exactly. So they do try to put people with similar work experiences in a similar track. So they might have like local council leaders all together in one group, like people that are in politics, or people that are working for human rights organizations, or people in education may go in one track, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One, about the follow-up after one has done the leadership program. Because, for example, mine was to train people in writing. The second question is about the creativity. You're saying it should be original. And from the application, what I read, I think you have to come up with something different. Yeah, from the creativity now. For example, if I've had a dream since my childhood that I need to start up maybe a TV like Ronald, but then I come to campus and Ronald already has a TV, he has something that he has started up, but then this has been my dream since childhood. Is it okay for me to apply within an area that other people are venturing in if I've had that dream since childhood? The other thing is, what chance or what plan, are there platforms within the Mandela Fellowship for people to have like continuity? For example, if Ronald, maybe you could have given us that in history, the chances for partnership, once I've maybe started up my NGO or I've started up my business, my entrepreneurship idea, is it picking ground from the leadership training and the program?
Great questions. So the first thing is, yes, of course you can apply with an idea that somebody else already has. That's normal, right? Like, very few people have something totally new that they're doing. But what we want to see is that you have some success in what you're doing, that it's not just an idea, that you need to already have started doing it, and you're succeeding in it, and you have some leadership experience. Because many people have ideas, but I have to say, I like what Ronald has on the wall here that says creativity is thinking of new things, and innovation is doing new things. This is a program for people that do. You need to be doing something. So it's okay if that is something other people are doing. Hell, it's a big world. We need, we could have one AIT in every city in Uganda, and that'd be fine, right? We need lots of AITs. So it's more that you are actually doing something and succeeding in it. And then remind me your next question. Oh, partnerships, yes, okay. Yes, this program is all about partnerships. But it's not me that's going to find them, it's you. So one of the strengths of the Mandela Washington Fellowship is the network of people that participate. But it is up to each person to take advantage of that network. So like, I don't really know what Ronard's expertise is. I mean, I sort of know what AIT is, okay. But he knows, and he can find other people in this network who are good partners. And what the program does is facilitate those dialogues between people in certain spaces, both in the United States as well as across Africa. And then you join this online community of Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni, and we see it regularly that alumni will say, hey, I'm doing this project in Uganda. Does anybody have somebody who can help? And then somebody from Zimbabwe will be like, oh yes, I'm doing the same thing. Let me share. And then, for example, we have a disability rights activist who is a professor at MOOBS in Kampala. And she started a disability, or like an inclusion in higher education working group with Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni from like 5 different African countries. And they're all connecting about how to have more people with disabilities access higher education. And they're working together to do it. So it's up to each individual to pursue that network. Ronald, what would you think about that, partnerships?
Yes, thank you so much. I just opened this as you was asking, I was looking, checking on our website. So on our website, we have these 2 people. There is Tom. Tom is based in the University of Notre Dame. And John Henry. John Henry heads one of the biggest innovation hubs in the US. So as we talk now, because I was there, and before I left, they had assigned me, John Henry, as my coach. And because this is a hub and he is leading one of the biggest hubs, so we became close. So that hub is now partnering with a YIT. So there's a recent project that was funded under Reciprocal Exchange Program. So I've been actually doing it with John Henry. And of recent, we wrote another project, I and Tom. So we want to bring Tom in Uganda for 2 months, actually, to actually move around schools and universities, building the capacity of university students in cybersecurity. So those are the partnerships you actually get when you go to the US. And that's actually the reason why this program was designed. It was designed to take Africans to the US and then the US to Africa. That's the whole point. So how does that happen? Those kind of collaborations and partnerships. So it's actually one of the biggest output you have to get from the US, these kind of networks and partnerships. So these guys have actually accepted to be advisors at the YIT. So they are one of our advisors. That's why we have them on our website. I hope I have tried to answer the bit of collaboration and partnerships.
And when you come back from the program, we actually have funding opportunities to bring Americans here to Uganda as part of what we call reciprocal exchange, where they come back. And then we also do exchanges within Africa. So right now, one of our MWF alumni is hosting somebody from Zimbabwe, and they're doing a project together here. So yes, the program's all about networks. Yeah?
Thank you so much. Personally, I applied for this fellowship, and I received the email that was telling me, no, thank you. Okay, it was very polite though. on 9th March 2022. I even remember, I've shown it to him. So these things, of course, as a student, rarely do you get disappointments, and when it comes, for someone to reapply and reapply, it becomes tough on us. Maybe we're a bit emotional in these things. But I would advise that if you could set up something that would train us, like you people, like training us on how like we can better ourselves in like applying for these fellowships, like where we can, like how we can go about the essays and every, like different sections of that application. Because as easy as it sounds, it's a bit difficult to, yeah.
So I will say many people apply and are not accepted, and then they apply again. Ronald, how many times did you apply? Oh, once, okay. I know somebody that applied 7 times. So it's not unusual to apply again. But what I would think about is if you didn't make it the first time, when you apply again, what has changed in your circumstances? Because if you are still in the same place you were when you applied the first time, you're probably not going to pass through again. So you'll need to think about, how am I improving? Am I demonstrating more leadership? Am I demonstrating more skills? Because if you keep staying in the same place, like you're still a student, you're still not working, you're still the same, then wait. You have until you're 35. So most of our applicants are in their late 20s or 30s when they succeed. Yeah, it's rare for university students to make it through. Yeah. In terms of helping people apply for the applications, there's a lot of available resources online. This Mandela Washington website has a lot of resources on applying. But I will say that if you are already a leader in your field and have career goals, the application is not hard. And so you need to think about, what is the challenge? Is it that the essays are hard, or do I just not have the experience to have good answers to the essays? In which case, you need to build your experience, right? Like, keep doing your work. Get out there. Do your job. Grow in your leadership experience, and then apply again, and you will find it easier the next time you apply, because you'll have more to talk about. You'll have more of your career plan in place. Your trajectory will make more sense, and the essays will not be so hard.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, for giving me this opportunity. But I want just to supplement your communication and saying that I think the U.S. mission has been a good friend here. And if you check maybe on Twitter, on Facebook, you're going to realize that they run a lot of capacity building spaces for these young people. And from my speech before, I said that you will take initiative actually to ensure that you get this, because you need it, yeah? You cannot wait. So I also would like that you follow the US mission on Twitter, on Facebook, so that when these capacity building are running, you're actually able to participate. But in particular, I can invite you for the public management training. I think that Madam Sharon, Sharon conducts, I think, once in a month, yeah? And we learn a lot of reading and writing and stuff to do. They're very important for you, yeah? Thank you so much.
I have 2 questions. One is, if I'm already right now on the wait list for yearly, do I qualify to apply for the Mandela Washington? And number 2 is about yearly. After the interview, like, why am I in the wait list? I didn't really understand that.
So I'm afraid I can't help you with Yali, because it's entirely run out of Nairobi, and I don't see their process. What I would say is, yes, apply to Mandela Washington Fellowship. Like, why not? Even when you're on the wait list. Don't, I think the expression is, the only opportunity you will never get is the one you never apply for. So apply, right? And let the system work out. I think Yali, I know they do different intakes every year, and so they may be, Peter, do you know? Yeah, for one of the next cohorts. Yeah. So then you just have to wait. Yeah. Yeah. It's good you're still on their list.
Thank you so much. My question is about which key areas are you really looking at so that we put our focus on, where you put a star and say, if this question is not answered very well, then you will not be eligible.
So there's no one question that you have to answer well. You have to answer all of them well. And the reason I'm saying that is we have about 2,000 to 3,000 Ugandans that are going to apply for this program this year. And we're only going to take 24. So they have to have very good applications. All of the answers must be very good. And when I say good, what I mean is that it makes sense, that you can see their leadership in what they're doing, that they know what their goals are, they know how this program is going to help, and what in the future their leadership is going to do for their community. And if you can paint that picture, that comes across as a good application. But it's not just one question, it's all of that, right? You need to draw the story together across your answers. That's what makes a good application. Yeah, so yes, it's hard. I won't lie.
Thank you. You talked about visa processing. I really didn't understand well. When is the applicant supposed to process visa and who faces those costs? Thank you.
Very good question. So when you are invited to participate in a US government exchange program, we help you get the visa. So there's no cost associated with it, and we invite you to apply for the visa. And so you're actually applying for what is called a J1 student exchange visa. So the visa itself says, this person is a Mandela Washington Fellow traveling on a US government exchange program. And the visa is good for that program. It's not an open visa for endless time. It's only for this program. And then all the costs are covered by the US Embassy, but you have to fill out the application forms online. So when we select our final 24 fellows, we give them instructions about how to apply for the visas, and we make the appointment for you and arrange you to come in and visit. It's one of the benefits of being on this program. Yeah, Ronald, how was the visa process for you?
You know, when you talk about visa and the US, it's like a tug of war. But as long as you really go through and you are accepted into the program, at some point the embassy officials could even do an interview for you. So it's actually the easiest process when you're through this Mandela Washington Fellowship and maybe other exchange programs, because interviews are booked for you. You go there, they can even give you a cup of tea, I guess, but we didn't get one. But I'm trying to help you understand how easy it can be when you're through the Mandela Washington Fellowship program. So it took us about 1 month to have everything done when it comes to visa process. But the other advantage that comes with getting a visa through Mandela Washington Fellowship, when you go back for the second time to get the visa, it is always the easiest. Remember when I got the other opportunity to travel again? By just a phone call, by email, by what, I had another visa. And this time around, they gave me more than 1 year. I think I have like 3 years. And it was not a hassle. So that's why this program is good. And you don't need to actually get worried of the visa processes. It's the easiest.
Once you're part of our network, again, it goes back to that question of networks, the visa is not the problem. We want to facilitate the work that you're doing. And we have faith that you are coming back to Uganda to do that work. Yeah. Other questions? Comments? Peter, anything you want to add? Okay. I will say, I think this type of program is the best thing that the US government invests in, because it's a sign that we are investing in people, right? We're giving you opportunities to grow, and then you come back to your community and are doing things in your community that matter most. So as an American citizen, I am proud that my tax dollars go to support programs like Mandela Washington Fellowship, because I think it helps our countries become better connected. It helps American citizens learn more about Uganda, learn more about the entire African continent, and strengthen those global networks. So I think it's a very good thing that the US government invests in. And every year that I've been involved with the program, I have been so impressed by the Ugandans that apply. You know, I get to interview many people as part of this program, and there are Ugandans doing amazing things across the country that are really working to provide a better community, better services, better governance for Uganda. And I see that in these program applicants. So if you are even considering applying for the program, it means you are already looking for the best opportunities for yourself and for your community. So congratulations to you for even considering it, and I hope to see your applications come across our desk in the next couple months. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm just going to use a few minutes to share my experience. Then after, we will get one, maybe 3 people to give a vote of thanks, and then we close the session. Yeah, so by the time I applied for Mandela Washington Fellowship, I was already a YARI RRC alumni. So in 2019, that's when I joined the YARI RRC. That is what Devin is struggling with. So some people actually confuse these two programs, but they are totally different. But one can give you an advantage over Mandela Washington Fellowship. Maybe this is my own personal experience, Amy. The fact that I joined Mandela Washington Fellowship after YARI, it was an opportunity. Why? YARI RRC gives you an opportunity to learn. Because, for example, I had just finished campus, so I didn't have really idea about what I'm going to do. I mean, I knew, but not so much. So when you go to Nairobi for 1 month, it is so much of learning. You're in class. They teach you a lot. And by the time you get out of YARI, you actually know what you're going to do. The design thinking you hear of, the, I know, business model, those things for us in the business world, that is where you'll find them. And then for you who are in the leaders, my friend Jonathan, the guild speaker, those who are already running organizations, when you go to Nairobi, you actually get the feel and understanding of how to run an organization, how to be a better leader. That's now the version 1 of YARI. So for some of you who are maybe finishing campus and have not really figured out how things are done, YARI RRC is an opportunity, it's an important milestone for you if you ever get there. Now, what is Mandela? For the 2 months I spent in the US, it was less of learning, but more of experiencing. You get the point? More of experiencing. One of our mentors was, for example, a technical director at IBM. He was only showing us how technology works. Not really teaching you technology, because the assumption is probably we knew. So it was more of showing us how technology works in the US and how we apply such principles here. We go to visit organizations like, there's a company that makes these cars. I don't know, those, there's this big car that we drive here, those cars, Ford and the other one. So the company that makes Ford. So we visited such a company, and why? You're trying to learn businesses that last. Those are generational kind of businesses. So they're trying to show you, as an African, as a Ugandan, how do you run a business that can, I'm sorry I'm using business a lot because I was in a business track. So for some of us who are not in that area, you will forgive me, but I'm just sharing experience. So now, why would you be exposed to Ford or to such a company? In Uganda, you know, we do businesses that never last. I'm running a YIT. If I die today, maybe the company dies. But Ford did not die. So how do we learn such principles and apply them in our setup? That is what you're exposed to. Less of experiencing, less of learning, but more of experiencing things. Now, you are given coaches, or what we call mentors. So John Henry was my mentor and my coach, who has now become a business partner. We are now working together. So in April, I went back to the US to pitch one of our innovations. That was because of John Henry. So he showed me how to do things. He taught me. So he called me again to pitch, and I won. I won. I was one of the winners. So even tomorrow, I am pitching the same innovation, Plug and Play. Plug and Play is one of the biggest venture capitalists in the Silicon Valley, all because of John Henry. So tomorrow I'm pitching. It will be at night. So how do you get such? That's why by the time you go to Mandela, you need to have laid the ground. Otherwise, John Henry cannot be giving me these opportunities if I do not deserve them. You get? So I already have what showed, then I get these opportunities. So I'll be pitching tomorrow because of John Henry. Now, some of my colleagues whom I went with actually have since gone back for scholarships, for further studies. I personally got a scholarship, which I haven't taken up, a fully paid scholarship at the University of Notre Dame to pursue a program. It's called ISTIM. So they are still on my neck. When are you coming for this program? Fully paid. So those are, meaning if you go and you're not yet done with school, of course, that's a disadvantage. But of course, I was done with school, and that's why a master's program, a scholarship is coming in. Then there are other grant opportunities that come after you have gone through the program. There's a reciprocal exchange program. There is one called LINC. I'm forgetting LINC in full. LINC. So that one is there. Then there are those specific grant programs for Mandela Washington Fellows, like the one I got of recent, the alumni exchange, whatever. Again, engagement fund. So I actually got that. It's a very good opportunity. More than $30,000 coming to a youth because of such a program. So they invested in us. Almost, I saw the budget is around $25,000. So every person's budget from the U.S. Department of State is $25,000. That was our year. So they are putting $25,000 in you to actually come back and do what? And grow yourself. Nothing else. You're not paying back. You're not doing what? And on top of that, they add you those grants. Like this one I've just mentioned. But also this year we got another reciprocal exchange. So far 2 grants after you left. And more still coming. And if I also count that one that came through John Henry, I mean, there are so many. So all I can say is, first of all, prepare yourself. Have what to offer. So that when you go there and you get opportunities, then the opportunities are landing on what? On the laid ground or the prepared mind. Because if you're not, the opportunities will not come. Before you go to, one thing I like about this program, Amy, before you get to the US, you have 1 month of studying where they teach you about American culture and actually how to take advantage of the opportunities. They actually teach you how to exploit opportunities. You get the point? American culture, you want to first understand what America is, then how do you take advantage of those opportunities? By the time you go there, you're already a master. You already know a lot. So that's the other advantage of the program. They have taught you, and then you have got into the program, and then when you go there, you're experiencing. So that key things that you actually enjoy, one, you have a mentor who can be a full-time friend. You have opportunities that will never go, forever opportunities. And the other advantage is you have partners that will never go. So those 3 things to me were the key take home. A mentor who is now on my team. I have partners that I'm working with. I have opportunities which include scholarships and grants. And of course, one of the reasons why I haven't gone is I have an organization, so I don't know who will run it when I'm not there. But with time, once I organize myself, I will probably go and take up this opportunity. Yeah, so really those are the opportunities I can share with you. That's my experience. It was less of learning, but more of experiencing, because I had done a lot of learning at Yari RLC, which Gerard took up. So I am encouraging you, please work hard and get Yari. And once you get it, when you go to Mandela, you'll also join the big boys league, the big boys where I am. And of recent, they added the Alumni Exchange Council. And the Alumni, what is its name, Peter? The Alumni Exchange what? The US
Exchange Alumni Network.
Network, yeah. So which brings all of us who have gone through these programs together.
There's
And
over 4,000 Ugandans that have participated in some sort of U.S. government exchange program in the past 50 years. So each year we send quite a few people to the United States, and to Kenya, and to our Academy for Women Entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We have various different programs. So being part of that network is very advantageous.
so meaning those are other networks. Imagine all 4,000. This year you saw we had alumni awards. You saw those awards. I participated in them as a finalist. And the good thing, the person who, I'm going to use the word, who defeated me was one time my mentor is Engineer Bainomugisha. So we met in our early stages, and he's one of those guys who are so serious in this country. If you have heard of an innovation called AirCo. Now, such a person is a resource. He was not in Mandela, he was not in Yari, but is now in the exchange network. So, just try hard, pray, do whatever you can to get in these exchange programs. You will not regret. Since we are done with all the questions, I have shared my experience. We can have 4 people, let's balance. So 2 ladies and 2 gentlemen to give a vote of thanks. So Bridget, Miri, let me use the word Miri. Devin, select 2 guys to give us a vote of thanks. Rio, let me select one of the Rios. I think you. Who else can give us a vote of thanks? Yes, Sankara. So we are now done, the 2 people. So ladies first, unless there is danger. So Miri, Bridget, then we end with gentlemen.
Yes. Good evening to us. Good afternoon to us all. Yes, we are grateful for the words of wisdom you've given us. Because I believe each one of us in this room has picked out a point or 2, and we have been, and I'm sure that we are not remaining the same. We are not working out the same way we have come in, and many of us will apply for this, and we hope to get in. Yes, thank you so much, and may the Lord bless you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bridget Nsimenta, and an advocate for maternal health and sexual reproduction and reproductive health. I am so privileged to have you here talk to us, give us the words of encouragement. I was seated here thinking, because I personally, I applied for YALI thrice, and I always receive some good message at the end of the time, I think. We are sorry to inform you. And I'm like, oh, so every time I apply, they are sorry to inform me. Okay. I tried this one, still, we are sorry to inform you. It became like a song. So I reached a time where I was like, okay, Bridget, you know what? This is not for you. Maybe better next time. And now that you have really talked to us, I think I'm now seeing where I would go wrong. I would not take my time maybe to really pour out what exactly is needed. I would just I would just write for the sake of finishing and submit. Or just beat up with a deadline and then submit. But then here I am. I've learned. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you.
Definitely encourage you, put some thought into your essays.
Okay, yes, once again, a very good evening. Here's to thank the embassy and the US mission, I would say, for whatever that is being done in the country. We are growing into your ambassadors, the local ambassadors in here, to be able to push and appreciate whatever that you actually selling within us. I have seen the transition, the transformation actually, that the exchange programs can do to individuals. You know why we say Christ works or God works is because someone next to you is going to give a testimony and say, I was this and God helped me do this. And by that, the mindset changes to that. So I've grown to say mindset changes when you see your own actually changing with what they are telling you. So the fact that we have seen, I personally have seen colleagues around me, individuals around me, transform with the US programs is to say they actually work. It is real. And when you say, for instance, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is for those with plans, personal development plan. I got such a statement from Ronald here, and I want to believe that you're echoing it. It is something that one must actually think about. Previously, when I asked him, can I actually also get to this? And the response was, you only need to work on your personal development plan. Should you know where you want to go, then this should be able to have you go go some miles. So it is to appreciate the embassy, appreciate the fellows that have already, gone through. Should they go through and they don't change, then of course we wouldn't be, thanking you. But we thank you for the fruits that we have seen, and thank you for sparing time to come through and, take us through this. We hope that this time actually the application is going to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like also to extend my sincere thanks to Leonard who invited us and to everyone who has made it to come in this place. And I also extend my sincere thanks to the embassy and the US for such amazing things. It's such a wonderful opportunity to find that people in America also thinking about Ugandans who are here and bring in such things that can bring us together such that we can learn different things in respect to what we are hoping to be in a certain future. And I'm very sure that from such a presentation you had from here, everyone who is here has come up with, right now is thinking, what can I do? Where can I be in a certain given period of time? And what can I develop in order maybe to give back to my community, in order to develop my career? Nothing much I can say, only that I wish all of us, I know all of us, we are going to apply and we are going to pass through. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, we are going to have a group photo. Unfortunately, our space is small, but thanks to the US Embassy, we will one day grow to a bigger one. So we will have a few people, I think, joining you, Emmy and Peter, to take a group photo. I know Peter will say no, but you will. Yeah. You're taking. Oh, yeah. So. We normally use this back of the room. Yeah. Yeah, so you will come in front, so we will fix ourselves somewhere and we take. For those who will not get a chance, because we want to update our statuses after here, so that's why I have to take a photo. Yeah, so a few people can join us, then we take a group photo. Amy can first stand. Oh, yeah. So you can end the broadcast, so we can go flying, so we enjoy taking photos. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.